So the Five Nights at Freddy's movie came out, and let me tell you, it is the best thing to have ever been made by humanity. This movie is the movie. 10 out of 10, perfect, flawless masterpiece. Not a single solitary issue with it whatsoever. And if I hear any of you say anything, even remotely, itsy bitsy teensy weensy, little bit bad about it, you are not only stupid, but you are wrong and dumb and stupid and wrong and dumb and wrong. Having said that, it was alright. I'd give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10. Allow me to explain. As far as a FNAF movie goes, it gives exactly what we think it would in a FNAF movie. Because frankly, it had a ton of Easter eggs that only real fans would understand, and that's just part of the fun. Overall, it was just a really fun movie. Not exactly the most exciting at times, but I can forgive that because it just had a blast with itself. And it's exactly what I thought it'd be, honestly. I mean, I was never expecting it to be a one-for-one copy of the games. I think that'd be a little unrealistic. You know, unless you want a 6-hour cut of the movie where it's just sitting at a desk, checking the cameras, pushing buttons. Maybe you want that kind of thing, I don't know. As far as a horror movie, it's okay. It could have used some more spooks. Because whenever the animatronics were on screen, those were the best parts of the movie. I don't think there was a single scene where I can honestly say the animatronics were bad. They were great. Frankly, it is impressive how well they made those things. And the overall set in general is just chef's kiss, because they actually built a restaurant. I believe it was in a shut down Home Depot where they built the set. They built a 2-scale model of the Five Nights at Freddy's restaurant, pizzeria restaurant, whatever. It was great. Animatronics, the setting, I can really see where they spent, what was it, $25 million budget. Currently, as of this video, they've made near $80 million. So, 3 times profit. I think it's safe to say we're gonna get a sequel in the relative future, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway. What was I saying? Right. So the $25 million budget going into the animatronics, into the pizzeria, it was great. But then it leads into the issue of everything else seeming a little bit cheap. And don't get me wrong, it didn't take away from the movie by any means. In fact, I think it all worked out pretty well, all things considered. But when you have a location as grand as this to work off of, everything else just seems a little bit small by comparison. Because what other sets do we have? Random diner? House? School? Outside? A taxi? Go watch the movie if you don't know that reference. Speaking of references, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you watched Matt's most recent video, you'll know. Markiplier was supposed to be in the film, but due to scheduling conflicts with his own film, couldn't make it. Want to know where he was supposed to be? Opening scene, he was supposed to be the first security guard. Now I will forever miss that timeline we did not get. But if they do make a sequel, I can only hope that he finally makes that cameo. As the person who got bit in '87. Tell me that wouldn't be the most perfect circle of all time. I am way off topic with this review. I've never done this kind of thing before, and you can probably tell that. Horror elements. They needed more of them, I think. For a franchise that was built off of jump scares, they really held back on them. And with any other horror movie that has ever existed, I would say that's a good thing. But when you do Five Nights at Freddy's, the games that were built on jump scares, and you only put in like 2 or 3, I could have used at least, I don't want to say a ton more because then it would become a bit cheap, but maybe like 2 more, 2 or 3 more. At least give one to each of the animatronics. You know, strangely enough, the cupcake, I think, got the most scares in this movie. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because I didn't mind it per se, but the cupcake? I feel like it really should have gone to more of the animatronics. Not to say they don't have their moments, because they do, but it really feels like they could have used them a bit more. But hey, on a $25 million budget, maybe that's just the most they could get out of what they have. And what they get out of it is perfectly fine. Probably notice I'm kind of rambling here about the same thing over and over again, because I really don't want to talk about the human characters. Because while they do have an interesting concept, they are unfortunately some of the lower aspects of the movie. Like with the brother Mike, Mr. Afton, Vanessa, Mike's sister. They're fine. They're perfectly fine for this movie, and they don't take away from anything. I want to make that perfectly clear. They're serviceable, but I feel like they underperformed it a little bit. I never got the sense that they were truly invested in what's going on. Especially, specifically from Mike. I feel like he should have put a little bit something extra into his performance, because when you're working at a restaurant haunted by spooky animatronics that go bump in the night, you'd think that would warrant just a little bit of a major gasp at the very least. Now, it does fluctuate a little bit, because there are scenes where he starts to peak a bit, and that is good, but he should have did it a little bit more. I don't know if it's his fault or not. Maybe it was just a mandate by the studio, or maybe it was just hard written into the script or something like that. I don't know what's good. I don't know what happened, but as is, it's fine. It's kind of like the Rogue One treatment, where you're kind of invested in the characters, but you feel like they should be giving a little something extra given the circumstances going on. So, William Afton, played by good old Shaggy himself. And you know what? It is just perfect that they got the guy famous for taking off people's masks to then make him the guy having his mask taken off. The William Afton character, or Springtrap, depending on how you want to refer to him, he was a bit underdeveloped, which is fine if they want to do a sequel or a prequel with it to further develop his character. But as is, in this movie alone, it was a little lackluster. I liked his scenes, but he needed at least just one more. Just maybe smack dab in the middle somewhere, where we really get to establish just why does he do what he does? We don't have to give away everything right now, especially if there is a sequel or a prequel in the future, but just a little touch extra just to keep us invested. Because as is, he really only appears in flashbacks, and then primarily at the very beginning and the very end. Just don't get me wrong, he does fine. Now, he does pretty good. I don't really know what to say, honestly. I liked his scenes. They were pretty good, and they definitely gave the fans exactly what they wanted. That is the primary takeaway from this whole thing. It is a fan movie, and it never apologizes for it. It is for the fans, and I say they had a really good time with it. Just thinking back to my theater experience, there were a couple of scenes where let me give a little context. I was the unlucky yes, I was dressed like this in the theater. Yes, I'm that guy. So anyway, I'm sitting in front of a crowd. They just will not shut up. They're constantly dropping coins for some reason. But then I noticed, towards the climax of the movie, the whole theater went silent. Like throughout the whole film, people were chit-chatting all about. But then once it got to the finale, dead silence. And then when Springtrap appeared on screen, whole theater started clapping. Any movie that can do that is doing something right. Now don't get me wrong, the disrespectful people were primarily high schoolers because yeah, this film was made for the younger generation, and I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore. I was in the 6th grade when this started, and now I'm on my 2nd job. And no, it is not as a security guard. I don't know how to end this video. I've never done this before. I'm just gonna leave it on the note that if you're thinking about watching the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, do it. It is good. Not perfect, but good. If you're looking to have a good experience because you're a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's brand, you'll get exactly what you want. And even if you're not a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's still just a good movie in general. Maybe not the kind you rewatch every single day, but the kind you check out at least every once in a while. It's a good watch. I give it 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8, depending on whether or not we get any news of a future sequel or not. Because obviously they can't spoil everything in the first entry. It's just not what you do. That's what I can't stand about some people who complain about, well, why didn't they get all the character development in the first episode? 'Cause that's not how things work. Go watch the movie, 'cause I'm just gonna keep rambling if you don't. And frankly, I am offended that you are not currently watching the movie and are instead watching some random person online dressed as the purple guy giving a mediocre review on a decent, well-made, family-friendly-ish movie that has been in development since 2015, and we've been waiting the better part of 8 years for. It is good. Go watch it right now. Heck, I'll pay for your ticket. I will pay for all of your tickets, okay? I am a FNAF security guard, and I make a whole $7 an hour, alright? In 1987, that'd be pretty good, but in today's standards, I am hopelessly broke. It doesn't help that the restaurant kind of shut down a while ago, and frankly, watching over the animatronics is a bit difficult at times, because they do go a bit bump in the night, and as my superior said, they do tend to get a bit quirky at night. I don't know how to end this video, so I'm just going to hit stop.